Are you new to digital art? Are you experienced, but you want to get better? Would you like some guidance on how to build your career and your skills in digital painting? Well, this video is for you. What's up, y'all? This is the Art Mentor. My name is Sean. I'm a veteran art teacher and freelance artist. And today, I want to share with you some of the wisdom I've been gifted from my 7 years of freelancing in digital painting. I myself am more traditionally trained in art, and I am self-taught in digital art. So what I'd like to do for you today is offer you my tips and advice and guidance on things to do and not to do in order to be a better digital artist. And it's gonna start right now. All right, y'all. So the first tip I want to give for you is actually regarding a really popular mindset that I really want to destroy, especially if you're new and just getting into this, is that most people will think that, oh, digital art is easier. No, it is not. That is absolutely not true. This is a huge popular fallacy, and I really want to just discredit this entire idea altogether. The main reason I sustain this particular stance on this is simply because of the fact that it applies all the basic skills and concepts of any art medium, but it's just in a digital format. So what you need to know is that there are certainly some distinct advantages of digital art over other art media, such as the fact that it is accessible from anywhere, especially if you have a mobile device, especially if you have a tablet, especially if you have a laptop that you can bring with you. You have infinite materials. Yes, no longer do you have to take a run to the art supply store. You have infinite space too. You can work on something that's going to be on a massive billboard, and you can do it all right from your living room. There are easily more resources available for digital artists out there right now, particularly about some of the other things I'm going to talk to you about later in this video. And of course, it is very, very marketable as well. You can get a lot of jobs with digital art, but that does not mean it is easier. Now, one of the reasons that people think that digital art is easier is usually because of these types of resources. And I just want to urge you, do not waste your money on these. Paid resources are a colossal waste of your time and money. I myself, I'm a sinner on this, okay? I definitely, when I was starting out, I tried to look for great resources, add-ons, extensions, and such that honestly are just a waste of time and money. So you typically see a lot of these marketed, particularly at people just starting out in digital art. Things like line stabilizers or color palettes or color wheels or harmonizers, all these add-ons and extensions, all of these, you need to not do them. All of these add-ons and extensions, they're from companies and from users that, just to be honest with you, they just want to take advantage of eager young digital artists who want their work to look more professional without putting in the time it needs to be more professional. So don't let yourself get taken advantage of, please. Now on this note, here's one of the worst bandits of your time and money are these. Any type of line stabilizer is really not your friend. So yes, I am going to recommend that you instead just draw your own lines. I'm really going to urge you to knock this off because they are essentially any type of line stabilizer or smoothing, anything like that. These are the training wheels of digital artists, and it is time that you go ahead and you take those suckers off because they are holding you back more than they are helping you. And by the way, this is not just my advice. This is the advice of most professional artists out there. I'm talking like Feng Zhu, I'm talking Marc Brunet from Cube Brush. All of these professional artists urge everybody to knock this off too. Again, you are being taken advantage of by people that just want to make a few bucks off of your inexperience. So don't let that happen to you. Instead, I really urge you to invest the time to develop the skills to draw better lines. And I'm going to give you some tips on how to do that coming up very soon in this video. So stay tuned for that. So here's a major advantage to just drawing your own lines is that it will actually teach you and it will imbue a certain personality in your artwork with how you draw lines. So rather than relying on some stupid add-on or extension or thing that's either free or you have to pay for, you need to just remove that because it is a barrier. It is hurting you more than it is helping you. And again, just think of it in terms of a physical space, in terms of other art media. There's no like mechanical robot that holds my hand while I draw something in real life. So don't rely on that for your digital art either. And now the worst bandit of all, when it comes to stealing your money, are definitely these bad boys. Hey, how am I doing so far? definitely let me know down below in the comments. And if you like this video, please make sure that you hit the like button. And if you're not already, do subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know whenever I push out content just like this, so that it helps my channel grow organically. Now, let's get back to it. All digital artists love custom brushes, right? And to be honest, what I'm about to talk to you about is one of the worst sins that I, myself, and pretty much every digital artist out there has committed. And what they do is that they feel that, especially when you're starting out in digital art, you'll start to see all these amazing videos from professional artists where they're using all these really cool texture custom brushes that have different shapes and different sizes and produce really amazing realistic effects or really stylized effects and all that. And you will think to yourself, oh man, I gotta get like 100+ custom brushes just so I can make my work look just like Tyler Eden, or make my work look just like that person. And what I wanna say to you is that you really should not rely on this. This over-reliance on custom brushes is really a hindrance more than it is a help. So for example, let me go ahead and show you all of my custom brushes right here. So as I scroll through all my custom brushes, you'll notice I have a lot. And now I know this seems contradictory because I am telling you, you don't need a lot, but I have a lot and I've just collected a lot over my years. But here's what I'm gonna tell you. I really make most of my artwork with only 3. All right, I use the hard brown brush, I use a soft brush, and then I created one in between, which is a semi-soft brush. That's it. I do about 90% of all my paintings with just these 3 brushes. And when you talk to other people in this industry, you're gonna notice that they do about the same too. All right, so here's the key clutch point to take away from this. So for example, if you can make your artwork look great by just using those basic brushes, just a hard round, just a soft round, some of the other preloaded stuff, then your work will and can look amazing when you start to add into the mix your custom brushes. And my personal advice to you is that you should not use more than, for 30% of your artwork, should not be used with some kind of custom brush. Again, this is a crutch for you to think that your artwork is gonna look amazing and cool, but in reality, there's a lot of development and a lot of skill building that goes into when and how to use those custom brushes by those artists that you love. So don't think that you can go ahead and just jump right into it and be as great as them just because you got a few custom brushes here. Instead though, what you should definitely invest in are these. Selections are your best friends. And myself personally, I used to watch a lot of tutorials and speed paint videos where I'd see professional artists use selections a lot. And I personally avoided it, and then I caught on to it, and now I'll never go back from it as far as what I can see in this moment in time. But selections are your best friends. So selections are gonna be ideal for many applications such as these. First off, they're really great for you to create base colors or base coverings for either characters or environments or really anything you're starting to do. You can just quickly make some selections, pull out some shapes, and slap some color in there. Selections are also really great for limiting your work areas so that certain areas or fields only get certain effects, certain colors, or certain brush strokes that you're looking for on there, and certain textures as well. Selections are prime too for cleaning up your edges towards the end of your painting process, particularly if you're like me and you like nice sharp lines in particular areas, then your selection tools are going to be really great for you to pull out those nice hard straight lines as opposed to trying to do it with your eraser tool or anything like that. And of course, adding values. Anything that's layered, particularly for me, I use it a lot for like armor, I use it a lot for shadows, cast on skin, but I really, really love the selections process and the selections tools. And they're gonna vary a lot depending on what program you're using. And I'm just trying to keep this general for y'all rather than hyper specific, because I personally use Photoshop, but I love to use the selection tools for all of these purposes. And they really do speed up your process and have a huge, profound effect on your paintings. I can guess what you're thinking because it's exactly what I thought when I was first introduced to this concept, which is that, well, what do I do if my hand is shaky? Well, here's what I'm gonna advise you on is to continue to watch this video. So I'm gonna give you some advice on how to do this better, but also just kind of work your way up to it. The more that you do it, the more comfortable you're gonna feel with it, trust me. Now, to improve your steadiness with your hands, rather than relying on stabilizers or paid add-ons, anything like that, you should instead do this. Get into the habit of rotating your canvas. And literally nobody talks about this, which is like the strangest thing in the world to me. What you will hear everybody talk about, and I'll talk about for a very brief second, is how you should get in the habit of balancing your artwork by flipping your artwork horizontally and or vertically in order just to make sure that things look great from one perspective or the other. However, though, here's the thing. Whenever you're trying to draw straight lines or you're trying to make selections, and I know that you know what I'm about to talk about here, but sometimes when you're trying to draw that perfectly straight line or that long line so it's not scratchy looking, then you're gonna end up producing this like weird wobbly line. And that's because most of the time, it took me like literally a solid year to figure out why I was struggling so much with this, is because you're trying to work with it at a fixed perspective, at a fixed angle. And that's what's making you suffer. So you just don't suffer with that. All digital art programs have this feature for you to rotate your canvas. So make sure you get into that. So overall, just rotate your canvas very frequently when you're trying to draw that specifically straight line, particularly a nice clean looking line art. Rotate it so it's at a comfy angle for both you and your tablet. This is something that I personally discovered in my experience a while ago. And ever since I've done this, man, my artwork has become so much cleaner. My line work has become so much smoother just because all I do is I constantly just rotate it back and forth all the time. And think about this in a traditional sense too. Like if you're drawing on a piece of paper or you're painting something and you need to do a long, hard line, you're typically gonna get up and you're gonna turn it, or you're gonna turn yourself so that it's at a most advantageous angle for you. And what I see a lot of digital artists doing, because again, they're watching professionals who are very trained at doing this and don't have to do it as much, is that they're gonna feel confined, like they only have to work to it exactly how it appears on your screen. Y'all don't do this. Overall, just break this habit and you will be better for it too. And now, for better looking digital art, you should definitely do this. So start to work with higher pixeled artwork for higher resolution looking images. Now, what I'm about to tell you right now is totally contradictory to what you see a lot of people talk to you about, and that's because the focus is very, very different. Let me explain. Usually what you're told and what you're advised to do with digital art is to really pump up the DPI. Now, if you're a total noob to this, or if you're just not sure what it is, DPI stands for dot per inch, and that essentially creates what we call our pixel depth. Essentially, within 1 inch on your screen, there are so many pixels. And traditionally, whenever you're viewing anything on a phone, or you're viewing on a tablet or a computer monitor, or even your television at home, by the way, you're seeing at 72 dots per inch. That means there's 72 pixels in every single inch of that screen. So when you pump it up to 300, what that does is it gives you a much greater range of colors and values and depth that you can get into each one of those square inches. Now, here's the problem with that though, is that pumping up your artwork and having a large canvas absolutely annihilates the RAM and your processing capabilities on your computer, even on more higher end computers when you're working with really big files like I have in the past. It really lags your performance. And that sucks, doesn't it? Because then it slows down your whole process literally for no reason. What I'm suggesting for you is to instead just work with much higher pixeled canvases. So typically, I recommend that you should work on canvas that are over 5,000 pixels and keeping the DPI somewhere between 72 and 150. And that's what's best for you to produce something that's really clean and cool looking on a digital surface. So unless you are going to be producing artwork for a publisher or something that's going to be on like this huge billboard, you don't need to work that high, nor should you. It's not worth it. For you just doing sketches, if you're putting stuff on Instagram or YouTube or TikTok, anything like that, nobody's going to see it any higher than 72. It's physically impossible. So don't worry about it, and definitely don't stress your system on it either. It's not worth it. Now, none of this is going to matter for long-lasting improvement unless you do this. You need to be very consistent in your efforts for becoming a better digital art, because you just won't see that improvement unless you're being disciplined and you're doing it more frequently than maybe how you've been doing it in the past. Think about it, and let's liken it to this, okay? If you're gonna work out, if you're gonna be dieting, if you're gonna be learning a sport, you have to keep consistency on there. That means you have to be doing it regularly. Now, when I say this, I just wanna be really clear. What I'm not saying is that you need to sit down and you need to hammer out like 4 to 8 hours a day on this. That's unrealistic for a lot of people, particularly if you are a full-time student, particularly if you have a job, particularly if you have a life. That's really hard to do 4 or 5 days a week. But what you can do and what you can commit to very easily is 30 minutes a day. If you commit to 30 minutes a day, I promise you, you will see massive improvements in your artwork, and you're gonna be so much better for it. And listen, I know a lot of people will say, well, I don't have time for that. Let me just say this. If I followed you around for an entire day, would I find 30 minutes a day where you might be wasting time, or you might be playing on your phone, where you might be watching a video that's not helping you, where you might be playing video games, where you might be watching Netflix, where you might be watching TV, but obviously not 30 minutes you dedicated towards watching my channel. Thank you for that. So overall, don't be lame with this, okay? You can definitely hammer out this amount of time. I promise you. That's all it's gonna take. Just dedicate a little bit of time every single day, or close to every single day, because yeah, things come up, I get it, but close to every single day to when you can dedicate yourself towards making better digital art. Because the more consistent you are with your efforts, the more comfort level you're going to get, and the less you're going to need stupid things like line stabilizers or extra palettes or any weird extensions. You're going to be able to make your selections much more cleaner too. You're just going to develop that comfort level, and you're not going to be able to get that through any type of cheap method. And finally, when starting out, you're going to need one of these bad boys. To start out, you definitely need some type of drawing tablet and or some type of drawing device. So this includes either you're going to use a traditional tablet and pen, or you're just going to use a pen that's on your tablet. With all of these, here's the most primo advice I want to give to you, and I'm going to go in depth on this on a future video, by the way, too, coming soon, is you should start cheap, okay? And here's basically how I recommend this, is that you need to evolve slowly. You need to be like the hermit crab when it comes to selecting and purchasing your digital art tablet, okay? I basically view a tablet like an investment, and until that investment is paying off for me, I don't really see the point in me investing the time and the money into purchasing a bigger, better tablet. Because here's the thing, the amount you spend on your tablet is not going to make you a better artist. So spending $3,000 on an ultra 8K display tablet that has crazy sensitivity, this is not going to make you a great artist. You're not going to be able to command instantly like $90,000 a year from just purchasing that tablet. Instead, what you should do, and as I recommend, and I personally practice as well, is I recommend that you instead just get a nice $100 or less drawing tablet. That's where you want to be, okay? Wacom has these, Huion has these, XP Pen has these as well. So those are 3 great brands to look for. And again, just start small with this, because if you can produce really great looking artwork on those, by the time you warm up to a bigger, more expensive display, then you're going to create some really nasty, awesome artwork. Myself personally, I started out with a Wacom Bamboo Create, which by the way, they don't even make anymore. I think they call it like an Intuos now. So I used that. Then I upgraded to a Wacom Intuos Pro Medium. And now I also have an XP Pen Pro 24-inch display tablet. So most of the time though, honestly, I'm using my Wacom Intuos Pro, and I've slowly evolved this, and my decision-making process was as such, when I started to get more clients and I started to command more artwork, then the investment made sense to me. So think of it like this though, the tools don't make the carpenter, all right? Just because you have the best, most expensive tools doesn't mean you can build the best house. And it's the same thing with art. Your tools will not make you a better artist, only your skills will, and you need to build those skills in order to get there. So start cheap and level up. Hey, and if you want to continue to level up your skills, grow your business, and learn how to be a better artist, make sure you watch these videos right here.